look at the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and it's nothing but hate between these two rivals. It's the first opener between the Cowboys and the Eagles from Philadelphia since 1970. Lincoln Financial Field will be rocking tonight as the Cowboys and Eagles face off on a night where Philadelphia raises a Super Bowl banner and Cowboys Nation is ready for a new era. The Schottenheimer era gets underway as we welcome you into the Globe Life Studios and Cowboys Pregame Live, presented by WinStar World Casino and Resort. We've got Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Thanks for joining us as we lead you up to kickoff between the Cowboys and the Eagles. And normally we have Nate Newton as a part of this pregame show too.
I knew something was missing.
I don't know. Yeah, he's a big man missing though. What is that? I don't know what's going on there.
Man, what's going on?
That's outside.
Oh.
It's outside the windows here. Oh, it's Big Nate.
There we go.
Oh my goodness. Big Nate in the building.
With the fresh knees.
That's one way to make an entry.
That's it.
That is one way.
The low ride. Can't hide it.
I know that car too. That's Star Mobile 1. That is a beautiful custom hot rod. Our friend Jamie Opelt helping Nate Newton get to work, maybe a little late, maybe not on time, but he's getting in a little bit late today.
He's normally early like Miss Pearly, but he got his game face on. He got his game face on right now.
Got his game face on, getting all the way through there. Hey, yeah, okay. That's a game face.
It is. What?
This is who we are, and this is who I am. Cowboys for life. Let's go to work, Cowboys.
Okay. Okay, Nate, come on in here then.
Oh, that's the way to make an entrance.
Hey, that's my dog right now.
I love it, man.
A three-time Super Bowl champ, a six-time Pro Bowler.
Yes,
Nate
sir.
Newton
Yes,
joined
sir.
the show as always. It's a new season. You got to start it off the right way, right?
That's right, man. I'm rolling like Isaiah. My boy, man.
This is year number 6 for the Cowboys Pregame Live crew. Let's get things started. Cowboys, Eagles, it's week 1.
Of course it is. There is no greater rivalry anywhere in the league.
The Dallas Cowboys are going to take us for granted. We'll whip their ass.
Oh, I would have said something to Buddy, but he put his big fat rear end into the dressing room.
I resent that. I've been on a diet. I thought I was looking good.
I'm in a league of my own. They ain't ready for me.
Oh, he flaps his wings like a big eagle bird in the end zone.
Bring the pain. All day, every day. Let's go. Damn day. All day. Let's get some respect, man.
Damn, let's just keep doing what we're doing.
The Eagles, let's go right now.
Oh, it is always special when the Cowboys and the Eagles come together. And, of course, it's a little extra on top as the Eagles enter as reigning Super Bowl champs. Speaking of raining, it's about to rain at Lincoln Financial Field as we go out live to Nick Eatman on the sideline. I'd ask you about the storm clouds, about the weather, Nick, but I want to know about the atmosphere first. What does Lincoln Financial feel like on a night like tonight?
It feels like a wet poncho. I mean, like, everyone's taking cover. You had the best line of the day right there. This is the reigning Super Bowl champs, because that's exactly what's happening right now. We're trying to get in and out of here quickly. But, yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's going to, get exciting for everybody if the rain does stop. I don't know if it's going to, so it might change the game plan a little bit.
All right, Nick, man, I got to know exactly what is the energy and the vibes with the Dallas Cowboys. You've been at a lot of first games with this organization. How does it feel different today?
Well, I don't know if it's much different than it has been 10, 15 years ago or whatever, depending on your quarterback. But I know this. Dak Prescott seems as confident right now as I've seen him in his entire career. Having Pickens, having CD, of course, having the other weapons around it. He was just talking on Friday, kind of off the camera. He was as excited, he was as confident as he's ever been. We'll see what happens when the Eagles blitz on 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, whatever, if it gets to that. But he just seems like they have a plan. Going deep, going short. It just feels like he's super confident.
Nick, my main concern is that offensive line. I know Tyler Godden is starting, but who is my swing tackle? Need to know.
Looking without even looking at actives, I wouldn't even be able to tell you. It's probably going to be Nate Thomas. I mean, Nate Thomas is the active. He's going to be the guy on the left side, right side. I know they did a couple of changes there with the inactives, but that's probably who's going to be their swing tackle. Hopefully, we don't see him.
All right, Nick, well, let's get on the defensive side of things here. There's no Parsons. You got a new defensive coordinator with Matt Eberflus. You got a lot of young, talented players, unproven but talented players. Who needs to be the X factor defensively for this team to have success against this elite Philadelphia offense?
Well, for me, it's Dante Fowler and Ezeraku. I mean, you obviously lost the best player on the team on defense, so who steps up? Who's somebody scared of? They have to prove Ezeraku, Fowler, Nealon, Sam Williams. These guys have to prove that there's something as well. Obviously, you want to see Kenny Clark and those guys in the middle, but you got to get Rush on the outside.
Nick Eatman on the sidelines at Lincoln Financial Field. Nick, thanks so much. We'll get you out of the rain so you can get back up to the press box. I know you're waiting on that. Thanks again. We'll check in with him later in the show as he interviews Stephen Jones down on the sideline. And I know all of you guys have had a chance to look at this Cowboys team. You've been out at practice, been out at training camp. I just want to start by asking, and I'll start with you, Barry. Okay. What's your first impression of this Cowboys team before they even take the field tonight?
Well, my first impression of this team, over camp and preseason and all that is they're extremely top-heavy. I mean, when you look at it, you got Dak, you got CD, you got Pickens. Of course, you got your boy Jake Ferguson out there. Defensively, you got the stars out there, and they're going to do their thing. Yeah. But my question is, it's a long season. Where's that depth going to come from? I mean, we've seen these guys, the top-heavy guys, they're going to do their thing, but the young, talented guys, it starts tonight in Philadelphia. Where's that depth going to come from? That's a question I have for this team.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with the fact that I believe that this is probably the most team-oriented that this organization has been in a long time. And you really get the vibes of that starting in training camp all the way to where we're at today after following up on the Micah Parsons trade. You see that they're actually talking about it and they're actually following it up with their actions. These guys feel like they want to be respected across the board. They don't want you worried about one or two guys. They want you being concerned about the whole offensive threat, the entire special team threat, the entire defense now that Micah Parsons is gone. Where is that threat, that X factor going to be? I think they want you to be concerned about multiple guys instead of being able to highlight one person.
I want to just reiterate what you're saying now, Isaiah. This team thing has been what Coach Schottenheimer has been preaching from the competition of volleyball or whatever, the racquetball or the golf or whatever he decides to put up there. It's always about competition. The next and the best guy is going to play. A lot of that had to do with the Parsons move, where it's not an individual. It's a team deal. Now we got to find out who's going to shine on defense. Sam Williams, will he come? Will Marshawn pick up his game? Will Ken, the new guy, Clark, will he be enough of a mature guy, disciplined guy to get these guys going in the right way? I believe it's about what you said, Isaiah.
I think my first impression is that just having Dak Prescott back in practice, back in these meetings, it adds a level of confidence. And he's going into year number 10. It's been a long time, Dak Prescott as the franchise quarterback for the Cowboys. Here's his thoughts entering the season and the expectations that are at hand.
Very excited. Very excited. Hell of a game plan that we started off with, obviously just a day into it. But super excited the way that he's approaching this thing, him, the whole coaching staff, the way that we're going to attack these guys. A lot of excitement. I'm blessed. It's crazy just the way that you see. I've grown to see this game year in and year out, and where I am now to the way I'm viewing this game plan with the game plan that they're putting together. Experience is just the best teacher, and super thankful to be in year 10, super thankful to get here and to be healthy and in this position, and excited just to go out there and show the work that I've put into this thing.
And of course, his numbers have backed that up at the same time. Dak Prescott, since being the starter in 2023, where he put up numbers that had him second in MVP voting in that season. And then, of course, through the first half of last year prior to suffering an injury against Atlanta midway through the year. He was top 5 in most major categories and just outside the top 5 in passer rating. Dak does have the confidence and he does have the support of this offense. But, Barry, where do you feel like Dak will excel the most here in 2025?
It's going to have to be decision-making for me. He's going to have to be one of those guys that takes care of the football, because to me, I don't believe this team, at least early on, is good enough to overcome mistakes, at least on the offensive side of the football. When we talk about defense, I feel like they're going to start slow. No Micah Parsons. They got a new defensive coordinator. They're trying to learn the ropes, trying to gel as a unit. So that offense is going to have to take the reins, and Dak Prescott is going to have to be extremely great when it comes to decision-making. No sloppy turnovers here and there. He's going to have to take care of the football.
As quick as he can find a rhythm with Pickens and with CD and with Ferg in the middle, as soon as he find that rhythm with just a little bit of run game, he's going to be all right. What I liked about Dak is how he came into training camp. He was positive. He was running all around the field. He was trying to show everybody that hamstring is no issue. Dak is ready to go.
Yeah, I believe that Dak is ready to go. His approach to the offseason has been absolutely amazing. But one element that I believe that he's really going to take a huge stride forward, especially with the new addition of George Pickens, is going to be the plus 20 ball. That means that pushing the ball down the field. He obviously has CeeDee Lamb, but CeeDee Lamb always had 2 guys, sometimes 3 guys on him. Now I want you to think about the fact that you have George Pickens, one of the best deep ball contested catch guys in the league. CeeDee Lamb along with him. And you can add Kevontae Turpin to the mix with that. That's 3 guys going down the field that you have to respect. If you're a safety, Barry should know this. You have to back up. You better get on the back pedal. You better get out your back pedal because these guys are going to be pushing the ball down the field.
Well, and that's the thing. You're going to need those guys to step up in a big way on the offensive side because you lost a big piece of your defense this past week. The Cowboys do trade Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers. Of course, by this point, the entire football world has had their impact piece. They've had their talking points on it all. I want to hear from you guys, though. With this happening, how does this affect the future, but also how does this affect 2025 for the Cowboys?
Well, we understand, the picks they got from that trade, that'll be all in the future. Who knows what the players are going to be from the future when that is concerned. But the way it's going to impact this defense this year is going to have to make everybody step up, especially on the defensive line. You're not going to have one guy where the offense is just focused on leaving all these one-on-ones for guys like Odigizua or Dante Fowler. They're going to be playing as a unit out there. They're going to have to play a lot of stunts, a lot of games, and the linebackers as well. They're going to have to make sure that they add in when they're supposed to and follow Flus's plan exactly. You don't have that game record in Micah Parsons anymore that can just take over a game. You're going to have to play as a unit, and I believe you'll see that from this defense starting in Philadelphia.
0 hero ball. 0. If this is not about team, because when you lose that type of talent, a pass rush talent, that's 12 sacks a year. That's maybe 10 to 15 pressures a game that he generates off himself. That is what you're losing. Now you become a team. You lock up, you do your job.
Yeah, I understand the trade. I know a lot of people aren't going to necessarily like it. It's not going to make you feel good. But when you start talking about what Schottenheimer's preaching, when you start talking about this team element and start talking about the fact that you want your entire team to be represented well and to be respected, it's all about what they do with those picks. It's all about what they do with that cap space. We've seen what they've done early on by going ahead and extending Daron Bland. We've seen Hunter Lipke has got his extension. We know that Tyler Smith is going to get his. He'll be the highest paid guard in football at some point in time. So that's what you're doing internally in terms of being able to retain your guys. But what you do with those picks now is very important. Now, do you hold on to those picks until next year's draft and the following year's draft, or do you utilize those picks to go grab you a potential Pro Bowl player or 2 that can come in and contribute to your team? I think these first 3 games are going to be very important for Dallas in terms of what they're going to do, but how much of an impact is Matt Eberflus going to have, because they trust the crap out of him to allow their best player on defense and one of the best players in his league to walk away because of the confidence that he has and his ability to generate pressures with his scheme.
Yeah, the scheming up of pressure was a talking point out of that press conference upstairs with Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones following the trade. The pressure rate was there with Micah Parsons, of course, over that 19% mark, best in the NFL through the 2024 season. And some would argue Micah Parsons had a down year because he missed 4 games through the middle of that schedule. Micah Parsons is still a top edge rusher in football. You are without him for the foreseeable future. But Brian Schottenheimer has his thoughts on the Parsons trade earlier in the week.
At the end of the day, it was unanimous. This is not something we came about. It wasn't something where it was like an overnight thing. We had talked about it. And at the end of the day, I think when you look at a football team, when you can potentially add up to 4 or 5 players and things like that, happy for Micah, his family. You look at the deal that he got, that's awesome. I wish him nothing but the best. I mean, he's done an incredible job here for the Cowboys for the last 4 years, and but again, you never know. I mean, you never know how these things are going to play out. And at the end of the day, I'm excited about all the additions that we've added, not just Kenny, but again, we've got some pretty good DBs that we've added. This is something you guys know all the time. It's a 365-day a year. But to get Triquez, Bridges, and Reddy Stewart, guys that we were excited about, to get Trevor Keegan. At the end of the day, we're about trying to upgrade the roster any chance we get.
And they'll have to upgrade the roster in the future. What they've got now is what they've got going into Philadelphia, and it's going to be a challenge against the reigning Super Bowl champs. Here are the wide receivers they'll go up against. And, of course, we talk about good rosters and we talk about built teams. The Eagles have some top wide receiver talent across the board. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith are two of the best in the NFL, and the Eagles were 14 wins in 15 games when they both played last year. That was by far the highest win total of any wide receiver duo in the NFL. But Dallas has their own wide receiver duo to work with here in 25. George Pickens acquired in the middle of the offseason. They make the trade with Pittsburgh. He's on contract for the final year of his deal and now has an opportunity to work into this 2025 roster and this 2025 campaign with the Cowboys. I'm really excited to see this group, but how much can George Pickens elevate this offense, and how much can he elevate CeeDee Lamb, Isaiah, when it comes to it?
It's huge. I mean, you talk about the 1A, 1B, whatever you want to call it, okay? Either way, these guys are both highly respected receivers in this league. We talk about their contested catch ability, their catch radius. Both of these guys are tall, lanky receivers that can stretch the field. He's going to help them out just because he's as much of a threat as CeeDee Lamb is. And when you have two of those guys offensively, the defense is going to be stressing, okay? And it's not just about the outside, the numbers. You have to worry about Jake Ferguson, too. I can't talk about those two without talking about Jake. He's the trifecta in this thing. And when you have those guys running down the field, it creates a lot of different mismatch nightmares for these guys. You're going to need two solid defensive backs that can guard these guys man-to-man, or you could try to play zone, and good luck with that.
Yeah, as a safety, I would hate to go against this duo. I mean, when you look at this, there is no ceiling for this duo. When you look at CeeDee Lamb, he's gotten even better from last year. I think you're going to be talking about one of either the first or the second best wide receiver in the National Football League. I mean, we've all been in locker rooms where we played with dogs. I mean, you played with Randy Moss out there in New England. You played with Michael Irvin here in Dallas. But when you look at these guys, it's a different confidence that goes about. And that's what I see from CeeDee Lamb. He walks the talk, and he just balls. He understands that he's unguardable out there. And then you add a guy like George Pickens into the lineup, who would be a number one on half of the teams here in the National Football League. You're just causing these defensive coordinators nightmares to try to scheme up something to prevent these guys from having big plays. It's going to be a nightmare for those defensive coordinators out there.
And I think the biggest nightmare is now the blitz. They used to get that. But they'll drop or they will load up a zone. You can't load up a zone on these guys. You're going to have to pick and choose who you want to cover. Because when you take away those two outside guys, like you say, Ferg come into play. Or you got number 9, Little Turp, eating up the seam, especially when you got two wide receivers on one side, one going on the 9 and one dragging across the middle. You got to make a decision. And Dak can read it quicker now. So he can make that decision earlier.
And I think one aspect that's not being talked about enough and that people are frustrated about the running back room or who's going to be the star running back. Understand, when you have these two guys on the outside, you almost are demanding the respect of two high safeties. If there's two high safeties, Barry, last time I checked, how many guys are in the box?
Oh, 6.
6 to 7 guys in the box, max. You can block that up, right, Big Nate?
That's right.
As an offensive lineman, you want to see a 6-man or 7-man box. You have a confidence. Big Nate Newton starts getting excited when you start talking about 6 and 7-man boxes. That's all they can put in the game whenever you line up with these two guys. So not only are you going to be a tremendous threat in the passing game, but your running game automatically gets better.
And they're not the only ones, or you guys aren't the only ones that are excited to see George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb play together. They're excited about the opportunity as well. Here's what they said earlier in the week.
Super excited. That's kind of what I was talking about with the scheme. Different routes, different route concepts to get me open, to get CeeDee open, to get a lot of guys open. Like I said, we got a lot of weapons, so I'll naturally just come open by other guys just running their route. So definitely ready.
Man, I can't even put it into words. I tell my camp back at home, my brothers, my family, my friends, how excited I am. And obviously I don't want to keep expressing it to the media. I'll let you guys do that. But as for us, we got to go out there and do what we do every day as we've been doing, and just continue that on throughout the season and never really get complacent or too excited about the moment that we're embracing.
There's the excitement from, of course, CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. There was some excitement from the fans seeing Brian Schottenheimer up close and personal out at training camp in Oxnard, California. Schotty signs a forehead of a fan.
Was that you, Kyle?
That is not me, nor do I have the hair like that anymore. Schottenheimer, you could see the hesitation there. He looked at it, he said, "Are you sure?" Signs the forehead, a great moment in training camp, certainly so. Here's Nicole Hutchison with some more great moments to talk about with Brian Schottenheimer in his first game as head coach.
Head coach Brian Schottenheimer has been around football his entire life, and now he's stepping into one of his biggest roles yet as head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. And he's got one clear message. He's leaning on his relationships to execute the vision of success he has for this team this year.
So you're coming here.
Brian Schottenheimer has been known as the man behind the play sheet. But this season, he stepped into a bigger role, leading the Dallas Cowboys as head coach for the first time.
Thank you guys for the opportunity. It's been an incredible journey. I've had some opportunities when I was a much younger man that I didn't feel like I was ready. I'm ready now.
Schottenheimer started as a consultant in 2022, then promoted to offensive coordinator where his voice wasn't front and center with McCarthy calling the plays. But now as head coach, it is. And from day one, his culture change was heard loud and clear for Dallas.
I want to be the greatest culture in professional sports, and that's saying a lot. I get that. But it's no different than sitting up here and talking about winning Super Bowls. You know, I mean, there's a standard. The standard is we want to be the best. And will we be the best culture? I don't know. We're going to try.
It's a culture built on authenticity, real relationships that have already brought this team closer. And for Schottenheimer, that connection is a key ingredient to turning his vision into wins. Another ingredient, his promise of modernizing the Cowboys offense.
The starting point for me would be things that our players do well. I'm a big believer in cut splits, shifts and motions to distort things. We're going to do a great job of marrying our runs and our passes, and there's a tempo element that we're excited to mix in that our players have all shown an affinity for.
The foundation's been laid. Now it's time to execute, and the Cowboys will start with Philly.
Very excited. Hell of a game plan that we started off with, but super excited the way that he's approaching this thing, him, the whole coaching staff, the way that we're going to attack these guys.
Dak has all the weapons he needs in CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, especially against a young Philly secondary. But it's supposed to be an offense built on balance, creativity, toughness, a style that can stretch defenses and win in the trenches. The Cowboys struggled to do that in 2024.
Taking steps from the offseason, that's what it was about. I mean, we had a great offseason, great OTAs and mini camps, so it was about taking another step, and I think we're headed in that direction. And honestly, not just the offense, the team. I mean, talking about Shotty, preaches. I mean, compete every day. Competition is high. Competition makes practice fun. We'll continue grinding. We'll put together a team that we're proud of.
First-year head coaches don't always have it easy, but with experience, respect in the locker room, and a proven track record of adapting, Brian Schottenheimer's debut season could be the start of something new in Dallas.
Nicole Hutchison now joins us now. And Nicole, I think there was a lot of learning going on when training camp came around, one for a rookie head coach, but also for the guys in the media around him. What did you learn about Brian Schottenheimer?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he has a great way of relating to these guys, something that, you know, a lot of coaches struggle with. But, you know, you talk about what he emphasized when he first came in was building relationships, right? Whether it was getting to know guys, you know, wives, girlfriends, and things like that. And, you know, that helps a player buy into whatever the coach may be deciding to do. I mean, and you talk about a guy who's also steady, right? You know, he has not changed. He's not overcomplicating a game plan, right? And just hearing from a lot of the guys in the locker room, that also builds that confidence within those guys as well. And so, I mean, you talk about Shotty and, you know, everything he's built so far has been special, and I feel like it'll pay off for sure.
Well, and today's really where rubber meets the road.
Yeah.
And he's checked the boxes all the way through. Everything sounded great through the offseason. They made some moves in the offseason. Isaiah, you're laughing here because you've heard it too. There's a lot of excitement around it through the building. Yeah. But you haven't played anybody yet. Thanks. What do you feel like we're going to learn tonight about Brian Schottenheimer?
Man, can he, call the plays, you know, that he actually wants to do? I mean, we saw Mike McCarthy and the success that they had in 2023, one of the best offenses in the NFL. Can he, either replicate that or make it a lot better, right? But also make it his own. He said he wants to emphasize the run game. Okay, well, it's raining outside in Philly. They obviously have to run the football. Can they have success there? I mean, and this is one of the best defensive fronts and defenses in the NFL that finished in 2024. Can they take advantage of that young secondary, like I mentioned, with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens on the outside? You guys have already talked about that. But, I mean, you have a lot of weapons. You got to take advantage, and I feel like you're going to see that today as well.
Yeah, that's going to be the test for this Cowboys team. Yeah. Lots of tests along the way. I feel like that's been a common common theme so far. There's also some pressure on Brian Schottenheimer. He understands that, but he also knows it comes with the territory of being the Cowboys head coach.
I really think, at the end of the day, we're going to be judged on wins and losses. And again, when you grow up in this business and you see the things that you see, whether it's Frank Reich after a year or some of the one and dones, and it doesn't scare me, doesn't startle me, it's the business. And if you're good at what you do and you know how to capture your players and get them pulling in the same direction, which I think we're going to do a great job of, I think we expect to have great success this year.
So now the question becomes, what are the strengths of a first-year head coach? I'll start with you, Isaiah, because when it comes to Brian Schottenheimer, he's a relationship builder, but what is the X's and O's, and what are those going to look like tonight?
Yeah, I think his greatest advantage right now is the fact that he has been in the NFL for 25 years, and he's been under some really great leadership, whether it's his dad, Marty Schottenheimer, or whether his greatest influence that he speaks on in the form of Pete Carroll. He has the perspective to sit back and really just dissect what he liked about certain organizations and certain programs and what he didn't like. So now he's in a position of authority where he can create whatever he wants. He now has a great defensive coordinator in Matt Eberflus, who's one of the most respected guys. He has the best special teams unit in the NFL. So now he just has to focus on managing the men, building the relationships, and then executing his assignment, which he's responsible for in the offense.
Yeah, when it comes to me, I think one of the biggest strengths of Schottenheimer is that he has the respect of that locker room, all the way from Dak Prescott all the way down to the 53rd man. They respect that man, and hopefully they'll run through a brick wall for that man, because this will be his first opportunity to lead a group of men out there. Is he a leader of men? I'm not so sure yet. The jury's still out on that, but he has the respect of that locker room, and I'm excited to see what he brings to this Dallas Cowboys franchise.
You know what I like about him? He has respect of the number one guy. He has respect of Dak. And that when you have respect of the quarterback, and the quarterback is willing to echo what you're saying and what you're trying to put forward, that goes a long ways.
Yeah, and he also, what I've gathered as well is he treats every guy like they're Dak Prescott, right? Either if it's a rookie, if it's a second-year guy, no matter who it is. I mean, he treats everyone the exact same. And, I mean, the relationship building, I mean, that's a key part of it. It builds the trust within those guys, and I feel like that's just the automatic strength. I'm going to stick with the confidence builder from Schotty, excuse me.
Yeah, I always laugh a little bit. I called him a rookie head coach earlier. He's not a young whippersnapper out there. I mean, he's been in the league for quite some time. He's been around this building for 30 years, and then that doesn't even count what he did under his dad and Marty Schottenheimer.
Yeah, and
he's been around the NFL. He understands what it takes whenever the games start playing.
He's not receiving enough credit for that.
Yeah,
understand. We've all been underneath great coaches or great mentors, and your ability to sit back and be a sponge and just take notes and observe, right, and really just dissect everything that's going on. Imagine doing that for 25 years, right? 25 years.
That's a lot of data.
I hear you, young folk. I hear you, but he ain't been hit by Mike Tyson yet.
That's right.
That's game plan change when you hit by Mike Tyson.
And they're going up against Mike Tyson in this one. All right, let's take a little bit of time here and go through some of the inactives that are official now for the Cowboys. Here are the guys that are unavailable for the Dallas side tonight. And, of course, some interesting names on the list to start. Couple rookies, Jaden Blue. That's just because of availability of Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, and his return to Philadelphia. And then Hunter Lipke is active, so Jaden Blue will be inactive. And then a fellow rookie, Shamar James. The number one on this list that stands out is former first-round pick Mazi Smith. It's been a while since Mazi hasn't been available. They trade for Kenny Clark in the Micah Parsons trade. What do you want to talk about there? And why is that an Isaiah Stanback?
He was a first-round pick, right?
He was a first-round pick.
Yep. Three years ago?
Three hot ones.
First game, inactive.
Yep, that's the case.
Had all preseason.
Yep.
That's interesting. Any takes on that?
He played every snap almost in every preseason game he started. That was the first message. Coach asked him to pick up his game. I understand that you told everybody in the media, hey, I need to play better. That don't work. Performance is what counts. This is not college. We don't go by your potential. We need your performance. Mazi, pick your game up, son.
Barry, question for you.
Yes, sir.
Is the defensive tackle position not one of the lighter rooms on the team?
Oh, it's extremely light, my friend.
And he's inactive.
Yeah, that's not a good sign.
And that's with Perrion Winfrey, who's also banged up and at the defensive tackle. He got hurt in practice earlier this week. That's why he's on the inactive list. So that room's already thin, and Mazi Smith, not a part of it today. Something to keep in mind as the week goes on. All right, let's talk a little bit about the Philly and their side overall, the Philadelphia Eagles, and a team that certainly has the strength to run it back as Super Bowl champions. The Cowboys have a tough task ahead. Here's Dak Prescott with our trivia question of the day.
Today's trivia question is, what is the NFL record for the most games played on Thursday night in one season?
Well, Cowboys fans, I know it has not particularly been an easy ride for you guys, right? A 30-year drought of the Cowboys making the NFC Championship game. Well, I know you fast forward to 2024 and they only win 7 games. Then you fast forward to just a week ago and you're probably minding your business at home and the Cowboys trade Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers. Well, I know some of y'all have probably jumped ship. Well, some of y'all are probably riding the wave and sticking with them boys, and so is Shaquille O'Neal. And there's a lot of stakes on this Cowboys-Eagles matchup, but Shaq just raised the stakes even more.
We winning this year. I'm guaranteeing it.
Shaq, I would be honored to make a bet with you.
Let's do it. If the Cowboys don't win this year, I'll wear that Charles Barkley dress on the strip of Las Vegas.
If the Cowboys lose to the Eagles in week 1,
I will wear that dress right there in front of my restaurant at the Paris Hotel in Vegas.
This is something that we can hold you to?
Yes.
Are you out of your mind?
No. I'm a man of my word. If we lose to the Eagles, I will wear this dress in front of my restaurant at the Paris Hotel.
This is incredible.
Hold on. With no underwear on.
Okay, so that's one way.
Wow.
One way to make a statement.
Wow.
Shaq and a fool.
Yeah. We got a long way to go.
I'll tell you guys something, man. I used to get all his clothes. A lot of his clothes I would get and stuff like that because like my fatness.
You would buy them, right? Like you're not just
they would
taking
give
them
them to
from
me.
Shaq, right?
Reebok was sending, but Shaq ain't wearing your dress. I'm definitely gonna wear some.
Can't go out like that, Nate.
Oh, man. Here's what the Eagles certainly have from a roster standpoint as they look to become back-to-back champions, be only the second team to go back-to-back and win Super Bowl since that 2003-2004 Tom Brady-led Patriots team. It's been a long time since you've had an NFC team certainly make a run when it comes to back-to-back Super Bowl champs. But I got to ask you guys, what does the Eagles do best? Because they're good across the board, gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
This is a team that's very built, very good all the way across. What do they do best?
Offensively, I believe they just force teams into bad matchups. I mean, when you look at it, you got your dogs on the outside, you got Devontae Smith, you got A.J. Brown, and you tell yourself, all right, we're going to play everything top down. We're going to make sure we limit the big plays and force everything in front of us. Well, like Isaiah was saying earlier, that leaves a light box for one of the best running backs, if not the best running back in the National Football League, and one of the best offensive lines to just chew through you. Then you tell yourself, okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to make sure we stack the box. We're going to put 7-8 guys in there. Well, then you're leaving A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, one-on-one with corners out there. There's not many corners that can last one-on-one with those two guys on the outside. So they put a lot of teams into mismatch nightmares, and then defensively, they just hunt. I mean, that front seven is fierce. The linebacking core, the defensive line led by Jalen Carter, they're fierce hunters out there. So for me, it's mismatches and that front seven defensively.
What do the Eagles do best? It is Saquon Barkley with his hands on the ball. He rushed for 2,005 yards, about 5.8 per carry. He caught for 240 plus yards, 8.2 average. Whatever Saquon does, that's what the Eagles do best.
I'm not going to disagree with you there, but I am going to add something a little extra on there. They control the line of scrimmage. I'm going to keep it as simple as possible. Okay. Offensively, they're dominant at the offensive line position. They really control the ground game. Saquon is a beneficiary of that. Defensively, these guys are one of the best, if not the best, in terms of stopping the rush of opposing offenses. They control the line of scrimmage. A dude by the name of Jalen Carter, by the name of Jordan Davis. Yes. They lost Milton Williams, but their linebacker core, in my opinion, is probably the best in football. These guys are smart. These guys they're fast. They are decisive, and they're all leaders. All they did was use their first-round pick to go out there and grab another linebacker. So their first level is nasty, and their second level on defense is even nastier to me. When you think about it as a collective unit, they're a problem. And whenever it starts coming down to the control of the line of scrimmage.
And of course, you mentioned that defense. You talked about their numbers. They are the best in the NFL, at least coming out of that 2024 season. Best in total yardage, best in passing yards allowed per game, rushing yards allowed per game, top 10. Oh, and they were second best in points across the board. And how do you win football games, Isaiah?
Control the line of scrimmage.
You control the line of scrimmage. I was going to say score more points than the other team.
That's true.
And if you're not allowing points, you can win a lot of football games. So this defense is legit. This defense is great. Where do they start up front, or is this a secondary that's still young and budding? Where do you look when you look at Philly's defense?
Up front. 100%. Like you just mentioned, the linebackers, they got N'Kobe Dean out there. They got Zach Bond, who was an all-pro last year.
Yeah.
Those two guys, the way they flow, sideline to sideline, I mean, it's remarkable. And you can do that when you got a defensive line out there that's holding up these offensive linemen to get to the second level. I mean, when you can free flow like that, it makes the game a lot easier. Not to mention that the way they're able to stop the run, force teams to rely on the quarterback's arm out there instead of being a balanced attack makes it so much easier defensively. So for me, they're led by that front seven. That back secondary, there's nothing to sneeze at as well, but front seven for the Philadelphia Eagles is pure nastiness.
You know, I played against Jerome Brown. He's the late Jerome Brown. I played against Reggie White. Everything was predicated off of them. Just got Jalen Carter, number 98, Jordan Love, number 90. Everything runs off of them. If they're in there, you're in trouble.
Yeah, and it's not just those guys. I mean, you got to remember, you got the young bull. One of my other jobs that I work into media, that I had opportunity to meet Nolan Smith, and that dude is an absolute dog. He's one of the most genuine, passionate, football-loving guys that you could ever imagine. All he knows is go. So these guys are going to be able to get after the quarterback, not only just stop the run, but again, I think that they are light on the back end. I think they're inexperienced on the back end. They lost some secondary guys that have been veterans for a very long time in this league, that have been contributors for the Eagles and their success. With the offensive assault that Dallas can provide, I think that secondary is a little bit suspect.
And the secondary is a little suspect. You think there's a chance there. We'll talk more about the deep ball Dallas could find later in the show. Their offensive line, we saw a couple images of that offensive line. They're stout up front too, Big Nate. This is an offensive line all the way from left to right that's tough to take down. Where do you feel like they are at their best? It's a tough question to answer.
They can run outside. They can run inside. They got guys that can pull. Both guards can run. Both tackles can run. And then it's no weak links in the offensive line. They can do it all. They're A-plus offensive line. I wish I could say something bad.
Yeah, I mean, their O-line is solid, but, the extension of an offensive lineman is who? A tight end. Dallas Goedert does a really good job of being an extension of that offensive line. And, again, to Nate's point, their blocking schemes allow for them to be able to work up to the next level and get onto your linebackers. But the question is, who is going to be responsible for calling their plays? They have a new offensive coordinator. Kellen Moore was their guy last year, which is why they had so much success. Can they repeat that? The jury is out, as my boy Barry would say.
Oh, man, that's the big thing, too. And there's a lot of statistics up front that show that Philadelphia, not just on the film, is good. There's a lot of statistics that can point to it. As we have one of our stat guys himself, one of the young members of our Cowboys pregame live crew, Tommy Yarish, joins us on the sideline there at Lincoln Financial Field. He's got a stat of the day, and it has to deal with Micah Parsons not being a part of this Cowboys defense. Of course, you're going to see a drop-off without Micah Parsons in the fold, but when you look at the numbers going from first in expected points added per play, a metric used by NFL Next Gen Stats, but to go to dead last without him in the fold for those couple of games over the last few years. He didn't miss a ton of time, but when he did miss time, it was significant. And now, Tommy, they're going to have to deal without him in the fold for the rest of his career, seemingly after that trade to Green Bay.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Kyle. The numbers prove just how big of an impact Micah Parsons had in his first 4 years with the Cowboys. You see that .08 number. They led the league in expected points added per play on defense when he's on the field. When he's not, that number drops all the way to .05. Good for dead last. When one player, and one player alone, makes that big of a difference for you over a 4-year span, you're certainly going to see a different look on defense. Now, is that to say that the Cowboys can't get to the positives again in that stat category? Absolutely not. They really like what they've got in their pass rushing department with Sam Williams, Dante Fowler, second-round pick, Donovan Ezeraku, and last year's second-round pick, Marshawn Nealon. But those are big shoes to fill, guys. It's going to take a collective effort or somebody really stepping up and being a Micah Parsons-esque type player. But right now, the Cowboys don't know if they have that on this roster yet.
Well, that's the thing. You're going to have to see a number of guys without Micah Parsons. It's not going to be just one guy, Tommy. Do you feel like the Cowboys have enough on that defensive front, whether it's on the interior or on the edge, to step up without a guy like that in the fold?
I think they have enough to be good. I don't know if they will be great necessarily. That's still left to be determined, because when you lose a player like Parsons, great is what you were in the pass rush department. Can you replicate that without him? That test starts tonight for this Cowboys defense, but I think you look at the interior of this defensive line. When you add a guy like Kenny Clark, you're already better than you were last week, just because this defensive tackle room was so barren for the Cowboys coming into week 1. Now you add a guy who has Pro Bowl potential and who has played consistently well over the course of his career to that room. So overall, are they better up front on the line of scrimmage? I would say maybe. In the pass rush department, that certainly looks to be a big question mark coming into tonight.
It's not going to be a maybe. It's not going to be a maybe. When you bring Kenny Clark in here, what you're going to do is get a pass rush you couldn't get from Mozzie last year, that you couldn't get from the one technique. This guy thrives on being a one technique, driving the center, making a move on the center. Now, Osa got a big bag. We expected him to do big things. This going into his 4th or 5th year. This kid has to play. We're looking for 8 to 9 sacks just from the inside guys. I'm to 2 inside guys. And if you want to get wicked with it, I mean, Osa got to come on about 6 sacks this year. This thing can be replicated.
Yeah.
Eberflus says and told Mr. Jones himself that, you know what, we can manufacture sacks, but we're going to have to put ourselves in a great situation. And that is the long distance pass. So when that situation arises, these guys got to show up. Don't forget, Dante Fowler was a 10-sack guy. You don't have to play that game, man. You don't have to play that game. So that's take care of the run.
Yep.
Get yourself in a long situation, 3rd and 10, 2nd and 9 or more, and all of a sudden, these guys can come to life. Sam Williams, we don't know what he's going to do, but he's a baller. Yeah. He's a baller. He can play. He got moves.
All of these are boxes that are going to have to be checked down the line as we go on. Tommy, thanks so much for joining us there on the sideline at Lincoln Financial. We'll catch up with you again next week. Always doing a great job out there in Philadelphia. It's a beautiful night, at least before the storm clouds roll in. Going to be interesting as this one goes on. Let's go back out on the sideline, hear from Stephen Jones.
Thank you, Kyle. And I'm here with Stephen Jones, Cowboys Chief Operating Officer. First game of the season, and of course it's raining. Is that dampening the spirits at all for you?
Hell no. Not. Are you kidding me? Football, you play it in rain, sleet, or snow, baby. And no, we're so fired up about tonight. And I think all our players are in a great spot. I think Coach Schottenheimer and his staff's really got this team ready to play. And we look forward to this challenge. Obviously playing the Super Bowl champions on their field. And night they're going to raise a banner or something like that, but we look forward to it.
You know, back in the middle of training camp, if I would have told you Trayvon Diggs is going to play week 1 and Tyler Guyton's going to play after that injury he had, you probably would have taken that all day.
I'll take it. I'll take it right now, and we'll move on, and I may not wish for anything else.
Right.
So here we go.
Mozzie Smith on the inactive list, but Kenny Clark's here. What do you like about your guys there in the front defensive tackles?
Well, I just think we've got a really good group. Obviously, we've been very verbal about one of the reasons we did make the trade was to strengthen the inside of this defensive group. And when you look at where we've come up short over the years, big games, playoff games, it's stopping the run. And so Coach Schottenheimer's committed to stopping the run, but also committed to running the ball. And, you know, I think it was a key acquisition for us. Obviously, we got more than that in terms of having the 2 number 1s as well. Certainly Mozzie's going to play into our game plan as the year goes, but you know, just felt it was the right move for the moment, and we'll be ready to move forward. But he'll make a big difference before it's all said and done this year.
If you ask our fans, a lot of them to say seeing Pickens and CD is the most exciting thing they want to see in this game. What is it for you? Would it be that duo? Would it be Dak in the offense?
Well, I think it's all of it, all the above. I mean, we've got certainly after last year we had a lot of players injured that are coming back off injuries. That'll be great to see how those guys respond. Certainly just a new staff all the way around, the unknown with that. But you know, I agree with our fans too. I mean, to get to see how you know, CD and George Pickens along with Turp and the rest of the receiving core complement each other will be great. But it's also important we are committed to running the football, and it'll be great to to see Javonte as well.
Last one with the sprinkling coming down here. When you saw the schedule, Philly week 1, not only do you get to play before everyone else, but is this one of those things where you get to find out right off the bat what the Cowboys have, what your team has?
Obviously, you got to play your schedule, and when you play it, doesn't really make a difference for us. We got to come up here and play a game we know every year, and they're a really good football team, and we actually circled it up and said, hey, this will be a great way to start the season and get a good judge as to where you're at, because obviously they won the Super Bowl last year. Hats off to them, much respect, and we got to go out and play really good football to win this game.
This has some Pittsburgh vibes from last year when it was raining and all, and we even had a rain delay, but I think it had a last-second win as well. Maybe that happens tonight.
We'll take it. Any way we can get a W in this league, you take them.
You take it. All right. Stephen Jones, thanks for joining us, Cowboys Chief Operating Officer. We'll throw it back to Kyle and the crew.
Yeah, thank you very much, Nick and Steve. And I like what he had to say there at the very end. You play your schedule. You know you're going to play Philadelphia, whether it's week 1 or week 12. Doesn't really matter. Get it done either way. You got to play them at some point, and especially early in the season.
Oh, yeah.
Might be able to catch them off guard a little bit.
This is true.
Another thing that Nick asked there was, you'll know what your team looks like after this week is over. Well, they'll know what Daron Bland's going to be for the Cowboys moving forward. Got the bread, as Barry Church likes to say. Got that contract extension, 4 years, $92 million. A lot of that guaranteed. It's a good deal for Daron Bland. It's a proactive deal from the Cowboys front office. You liked it overall.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, this is much deserved. We're talking about the definition of a ball-hawking corner when you talk about Daron Bland out there. I mean, this is a guy in his first 3 years in the league, 14 interceptions, 27 passes defense. I mean, 5 defensive touchdowns, which all came in 1 year, which is crazy to me. But with the Cowboys giving him this deal, that shows me that they believe this can be a cornerstone piece of the defense going forward, and they can build around him in the future with the Dallas Cowboys. So to me, much deserved. Go out there and ball out, young fella.
If you can, reward your playmakers. And Bland is a playmaker, inside and out. It doesn't make a difference where he plays. He's here to play team ball.
Well, where do you feel like he has his biggest opportunity or his most value when you say he can play outside and he can play inside?
I've always wanted to ask you, Barry, which is the hardest? I want to know which is the hardest. Is it slot? Is it outside? Which is the hardest? Or is it situational?
For me personally, it's the nickel position. And that's where I feel like Bland will do his best work at. I mean, this is a guy who, when he has eyes on the quarterback, he can read and react. And that's where he makes all his plays. When he can see the quarterback, he can break on the football and make plays. This guy has a lot of position flexibility. He can play on the outside as well. He can play in the slot. He might as well be able to play at safety as well. I don't know yet. But when you look at this guy, I don't see him as a Patrick Peterson or a Stephon Gilmore, or somebody that's just, here's your assignment, you go lock down Jamar Chase, you go lock down A.J. Brown. That's not his game. He's the guy that can go out there with position flex and play everywhere, and I believe nickel is his best opportunity to play that. He reminds me, and I'm not saying he's this guy yet. I'm not saying he's this guy yet, but he reminds me of a Charles Woodson who can play everywhere within the secondary, kind of like Jalen Ramsey as well, and have a big impact. I believe Daron Bland is that special of a player.
Kyle, you have your answer. He's a slot corner.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah. What do you think, Isaiah?
No, I think obviously Daron Bland, he's deserving of it. I know that he's beyond excited right now. You can see how humble of an individual he is, but I think this is a smart deal by the Dallas Cowboys. They were able to do something immediately with the cap space, and they obviously secure him for a long time, but it was very smart. And when you look into the details of it, I know the $92 million really pops off the screen, but really Dallas is freed up after year 27, and a lot of the money is really back in it. So they're not coming out a lot of money right now, but for somebody who's a 5th-round pick, this is a huge opportunity for them.
And it gives the first domino to fall outside of the Micah Parsons trade and the cap that's freed up from not signing Micah Parsons to a $40-plus, $47 million deal, ultimately what it ended up being with Green Bay. Here is Daron Bland. You spoke of his humble side. Here's his expectation now that the contract is done.
Really just want to thank God, really, for the opportunity. Where I come from, not a lot of people get this opportunity to be here and do what I do, so I just want to thank God for it. It's just a blessing, that's why I thank God, because not many 5th-rounders get that opportunities that I had and be in this league and be able to do what I do. And so I just thank for the opportunity to keep doing being out here.
Here's what the Dallas defense looks like going into the Week 1 matchup with Philadelphia. Of course, you do have a couple guys out there that belong to Matt Eberflus previously and has been a part of a Matt Eberflus defense. And even you've got that depth chart kind of back and forth. Matt Eberflus knows how to piece together a team that he trusts, especially with that linebacker spot. A couple guys there. Jack Sanborn was a starter for him in Chicago. Keep that in mind when you go back and forth between the two. Speaking of those linebackers, Isaiah, I know you've kind of kept an eye on them. You talked about it in the preseason broadcast. What has stood out about the linebacker room and what they've brought to the table?
Well, first of all, they look like linebackers.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, you talk about one of the rooms that were probably one of the least depth-filled rooms that we had last year. It's literally turned on its head, and it makes sense because Matt Eberflus is a linebacker specialist, right? He's a defensive coordinator, but linebacker is really his specialty position. So these guys now, Kenneth Murray, Jack Sanborn, obviously Damone Clark has taken huge strides forward again. Now you have all these guys that have really stepped into the fold, and they're going to be able to go out there and make plays. You see Maris Leofau right there. He's put on some weight, and he's going to be impactful. They're a smart unit. They're a physical unit, but their success is really going to be dependent on the guys that are in front of them. Hopefully this defensive front allows for these guys to run and play free.
They can run. They can flat out run, man.
Yeah.
I saw Big Murray, Kenneth Murray, come down hill, man, and pop some people. I saw Jack do the same thing. Leofau, he's the fastest out of all of them. And I think they can cover. That's the main thing. Can they be able to cover tight ends? We'll find that out.
Yeah. Speed is what I've seen from this linebacking core. They all can run, and I love the physical nature that they've played with. They've come downhill. They're shedding blocks. I mean, how many times in the preseason have you seen these guys just coming downhill and not, taking on the running back and falling backwards? They're pushing the power backwards, and that's what you love from an Eberflus defense. This linebacking core is something special. Now,
you've played for Matt Eberflus previously. When he was a linebackers coach here in Dallas, and then he went on to that career where he had the success with Indianapolis. He had the success then going with the Bears and ended up as a head coach. Now that he's back as a defensive coordinator, what can we expect, and what are some of the hallmarks of what Matt Eberflus brings as a coordinator in this league?
Well, I lightly touched on it a little bit when we talked about the linebackers, but you're gonna see speed on all levels, defensive line, linebackers, and secondary, and you're gonna see effort out there. He doesn't believe in loafs, and for those that don't know what loaf is, that's when you get passed up on the way to a ball by either your opponent or your own teammate. He does not believe in loafs, so these guys are gonna be hustling to the football. There will be no one-on-one tackles out there. I mean, that's how you get the leaky yardage. That's how you get the explosive plays when you're relying on one person to bring another guy down. You're going to see 2, 3, 4, 5, defensive players at the ball at every single time. He believes in gang tackling and making sure everybody's hustling to the football. Those are the hallmarks of a Matt Eberflus defense, and hopefully we can see some of that tonight in Philadelphia.
Wow. I mean, you don't understand. It's been 3, 4, 5 years. When we play a big opponent, I want to see that tonight.
Yeah.
I really do. I'm not saying it's going to be every play, and I'm not saying these guys going to know what to do because it takes time to gel. And I said, wow, I know it's kind of funny, but it would be nice to see that.
It would be nice to see that, and it would be nice to see it in Philadelphia as we get closer and closer to kickoff here between the Cowboys and the Eagles. Right around 30 minutes from now, the sun is setting there in Philly. We're getting really close to seeing this thing really come to a full. I know you guys are excited about it.
Wait.
Talking a lot of defense here.
Let's do it.
We love talking defense across the board.
All right, y'all, that's enough defensive talk. I respect the defensive side of the ball, but I want to talk about this offense, and we have to talk about the comparison between Dak Prescott versus Jalen Hurts. Kyle, let's take a walk, baby.
Let's take a walk.
We're going to take
I
it
like
up to the
that
board.
idea.
No disrespect, BC. I know you want to talk about defense all day long, but we have to figure out exactly what these quarterbacks do well. Now, we have to put some respect where respect is due. Defending champions, Philadelphia Eagles, they kind of have a dude at the quarterback position named Jalen Hurts. And you guys see his passer rating down here in the bottom, 68% completion, 18-5 on the touchdown to interception ratio. Pretty doggone good. But where does he like to go with the rock? Well, let's talk about it, okay? He likes anything in this region over here. Sidelines, okay? Sidelines. Shoot, he likes even the middle of the field as long as it's under 10 yards. But what area of the field does he not like? He doesn't like it up the middle. He doesn't like it in the middle. Single high safeties kind of give him problems. So that's something that Matt Eberflus should take into consideration going into tonight's matchup. But on the flip side, let's be done with the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's talk about Dakota Prescott. That's right, Dak Prescott, as we look at it in terms of what he does well. Well, let's look at his highest percentage rating. Under 5 yards, okay? Under 10 yards, right? Under 10 yards. That's where his sweet spot is. And then right over here, I want to highlight that. Why do I want to highlight that? Well,
Typically, there's a dude by the name of CeeDee Lamb who likes to come in short motion and runs a nice little over route. And when he runs his over route, he is the reason why you get this number right here in terms of 108 on the passer rating. That's where he likes to find the ball. But how can we improve upon this year? Well, there, like I mentioned, there's a CeeDee Lamb that's over here. You want to get him on plus 20, okay? He's one of the better contested catch receivers in the league. But he has a brother now. His brother's name is George Pickens. And George Pickens is one of the best deep threats in the league and best contested catchers in the league. And if you have a George Pickens that's on that side and you have a CeeDee Lamb on that side, well, you have a safety that has to be there. You have the safety that has to be there. And lo and behold, Kyle, the spot that Dak has not been great has been right there in the middle. Yep. You know who's working that area and who's back now?
Jake Ferguson.
Jake. Yes, Jake.
Loves the scenes.
Yes, we got Jake. And he's not working for an insurance company. He's working for the Dallas Cowboys. Right there in the middle of the field. That's where he's going to be able to eat. That's where he's going to live. And Dak Prescott has 3 weapons that can now tear apart a defense. They have to remain honest. They can't cheat a safety to one side. If they do, they're going to pay a hefty price.
As we talked about earlier in the show, this might be the best core of receivers, especially deep down the field, that Dak Prescott has ever had in succession with those 3 guys, and then some other guys mixed in between where you could get creative from 10 yards in, but 10 yards and beyond, it's going to be really interesting for Dak Prescott. Speaking of QB1, he gave you a trivia question earlier in the show. Here's quarterback Dak Prescott again with the answer to that trivia question.
Today's trivia question is, what is the NFL record for the most games played on Thursday night in one season? The answer to today's trivia question is 4 this year by the Dallas Cowboys.
You got to love it. Of course, Dak Prescott loves to throw up the 4, loves to show that number that he's always had. As we take a look outside of AT&T Stadium in Arlington, the Cowboys are playing in Philly, but there's a party going on out the Miller Lighthouse. The Cowboys cheerleaders helping enter in a new season of Cowboys football, all presented by 7-Eleven. It's not too late. Go ahead and head out there to Arlington and be a part of the action. It's free admission for everybody. So as we get back here inside the Globe Life studios, now rejoined by Barry and Nate, I think, one, the excitement is there across the board. Of course, you've got the Cowboys, you've got the Eagles, and a matchup that means a lot in the division. How do you feel like this Cowboys offense, now that you've talked it through, Nate, how do you feel like they attack the Eagles across the board?
You got to find a way to have a running game, whether it's short passes coming out of the backfield, whether, you're hitting off your tackles, trying to stay away from Jalen Carter. You got to find a way to get the run game just enough. It ain't got to be overbearing, just enough so you can get your outside guys going.
Yeah, and along with the running game, I think they're going to have to attack the middle of the field. I mean, this is a team that's lost one of their big-time playmakers in C.J. Gardner-Johnson at the safety spot. Yep. You got Jake Ferguson. I feel like he's going to have a big-time day. If you have a run game going, you can use that play action. The middle of the field should be wide open with everybody focused on CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens on the outside. Today should be a big-time middle field day.
Now, I want people to understand what Nate just said. You could blow by it if you weren't listening. The run game doesn't have to be fancy. Okay. It doesn't have to be explosive. The run game, you need 3.5, 4 yards a pop. Give me 3 yards, 3.5, 4 yards. And what does that do? That wears a defense down, and it frustrates a defense. Last thing that these guys want to do is be on the field for 12, 13, 14 plays. And the O-line gets confidence. Am I right, Nate?
That's right.
O-line gets confidence when they're able to get 4 yards a pop. And what does that do? That keeps you in good down and distance situations and allows for Schottenheimer to open up his entire playbook.
Yeah, that's the thing, is you're going to have a lot of that confidence level just radiate off of Dak Prescott themselves, and a lot of that excitement across the board because of a matchup like this. You get amped up for Cowboys-Eagles. You get amped up. You get amped up to see Trayvon Diggs in the
fresh
building.
legs.
He looks
fresh. Good, right?
Fresh legs.
Oh, there's big Kenny Clark.
That's a big man.
That is
That's a big man right
A couple
there.
different looks out at the Cowboys warming up. There's the Terror Twins. You got George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, courteous of Patrick No-See Walker, and then there's Dak. There's Dak Prescott jogging onto the field.
It does.
Yeah, you like
hamstring is a little stretched out hamstring.
Yeah, hoping he gets back to 2023. Dak Prescott, of course, top 5 in a couple of the major categories since the beginning of that 2023 season. I asked this question earlier. I want to talk about it again, though. Where do you feel like Dak Prescott can excel early this season?
These guys have said it all show long, decision-making. But it's easy when you got 2 nice wide receivers out there and a potential good guy at the tight end. This is decision-making.
Yeah, along with that, you can use your legs a little bit as well. I mean, we just talked about the fresh hamstrings out there. If everything's not there, if your security blanket, Jake Ferguson's not there, for some reason CD and George Pickens are tied up, go ahead and use your legs to go ahead and get that first down. You're a mobile quarterback as well.
And that's the thing, is you might see him run a little bit more as this game goes on, and it's going to help maybe try and be a little more fancy in the run game, because it doesn't have to be, but you can utilize a little read option just like Philly does on the opposite side.
I'm with it. As long as the thing is, you want to sustain drives.
Yeah,
right? That's ultimately what you do. If he has to utilize his legs to go get that extra little yard, he move the chains, then go ahead and do so, Dak. But don't get a little too crazy. We need that hamstring for another 16 games.
Yeah, there's a long way.
A long year.
There's a long year ahead of this. Let's flip to the defensive side, talk a little defensive line. Of course, no more Micah Parsons in the fold. Here's what your edge rusher and your defensive tackle room looks like. We did talk about Mozzie Smith inactive, Perrion Winfrey inactive, but boy, Kenny Clark looks like a big individual on that defensive line. Who do you expect to step up in the front seven, Barry, whenever it comes to that Dallas defense?
All of them.
You need all the step up.
All these guys.
All of them.
All of them.
All of them.
All of them. They're going to have to all step up to fill the void that was left by Micah Parsons. When you talk about production, getting after the quarterback, making things hard for that opposing offense out there. But to answer your question, all of them.
All
need
of
to
them.
step up.
All right, for those that don't know how to spell that, okay, let me take you guys to Bonics Dictionary page 273, Article 7. Okay, it's ALL''EM, all of them. All of them. All right, that's how you spell that.
Wow.
And you're absolutely correct. The person that I'm looking for is Solomon Thomas and Osa Odighizuwa. I think that people are going to be pleasantly surprised as to what Matt Eberflus is going to try to do with this defensive front. Everybody thinks that Kenny Clark came in here just to play a 3 technique. No. Yeah. Matt Eberflus knows that his linebacker room is the deepest on the defense. So what can you do to utilize that? You can go a 3-man front. 3 down linemen, and you could put Kenny Clark right there at the 1 technique over the center. You put Osa Odighizuwa and Solomon Thomas at the 3 technique, which is what they both do best. And then you could use all 4 of your linebackers or stand up your defensive ends like Sam Williams or Dante Fowler Jr., and you can have your 2 veteran linebackers and Kenneth Murray Jr. and Jack Sanborn in the middle. That's what I believe Matt Eberflus wants to get to, but those guys in the middle, 1 in the 3 techniques, have to hold the fort.
Okay, we've always called Barry Church DCBC.
Yeah,
what about DCIRS over here drawing up some defensive schemes?
Yeah.
He's been spending a lot of time around
That's
Barry in the offseason.
That's what it is. I love
Maybe
it.
it's all those shows with Manti
It was his sticks.
Te'o.
It was his sticks. That's what it was.
For those that know, that goes way back. That goes way back, Nate.
Yeah. You want me to go with the Kenny Clark?
Yes, please. Yes.
Kenny Clark is the key to all of this. His maturity and his discipline and keeping guys lined up correctly on that front. He's going to always go back and tell guys to make sure you're in your gap. This is how Eberflus have speed to the holes, linebackers coming down. What Isaiah talked about, if Kenny and Osa doesn't do their job or Solomon doesn't do their job by filling these gaps, you're going to take away from your speed of your linebackers.
Nate, all right, listen, you're a freaking legend at the offensive line position, okay? I have to understand, for the people at home, Osa Odighizuwa and Solomon Thomas are true 3 techniques. That means that they play on the guards, right? They play over the guards. Help people understand why Kenny Clark's presence is so important when he's a true 1 technique when he's over the center. How does that make your job more difficult as a guard or as an offensive line as a whole?
Because I'm always got to help. I always got to step to him. No matter what, we're going straight ahead, we always got to put a hand or a shoulder on him. That gives the linebacker a chance to come downhill on us. When we're trying to escape, if we can't escape because he's sitting there holding both of us up because he's got leverage on us, your linebackers got an A gap or they got a weak side B gap. So, they can run free. They're like running backs. They can pick the holes. So that is what Kenny Clark does for this team. That's his maturity and his discipline.
And if we know one thing about Cowboys and Eagles, this game's going to be won in the trenches. It's going to be won with your defensive line versus their offensive line. They have one of the best offensive lines in football. Your defensive line just lost one of the best players in football. The challenge is there, and it starts tonight. We're going to learn a lot about this Cowboys team when it comes to this matchup in Philadelphia. For Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Yeomans. For our entire Dallas Cowboys crew, Nicole Hutchison, Tommy Yarish, Nick Eatman, the whole cast, we say goodnight from Pregame Live. We'll see you after the game. Cowboys, Eagles, Sunday Night Football, kickoff in about 15 minutes on NBC.
Philadelphia Philadelphia Eagles, Super Bowl 59, world champions. 1, 2, 3. Dominant everything from the first snap to the last. Cowboys on me, Cowboys on 3. 1, 2, 3. Cowboys!